Hey, how's it going YouTube? This is SilverBeanie here, bringing you guys week 3 of our UBL team building series. I hope you guys are ready. The CRYSTAL PALOSSANDS are taking on the Southwest Survivors and Coach TokenGaming in a scary matchup. In a very scary matchup. We are currently rocking 0-2. We have not had the best of starts in this season. We're having a very rough start. But it's not all over yet. It's not all over yet. This is only week, well, we're now on week 3, and there's still another 9 weeks to go, or 8 weeks. There's 11 in total, put it that way. So we've still got loads to go. We've still got a chance to make a comeback. I want to try and break even. If I get 50-50, I would be happy. You know, if I get like an even, like say 5 or 6 wins, 5 or 6 losses, as long as I can somewhat break even, I don't mind. As long as I can, you know, I'll be happy with that. So we need to try and push strong. We've got a decent matchup, a decent team, and also a very scary team that we've got against us. We're going to talk you guys through it a little bit. We'll have a little discussion. You know, we'll share some thoughts. But my opponent's team, he's got a very scary team. They are currently also 0-2, so they haven't had the best of starts either. So currently we're even Stevens. We both lost our first 2 matches. So one of us are guaranteed a win this week. Yeah. Also, just so you guys know, last week there was no match. We had like a bye week. A lot of people were away, so we ended up having just a week off. Just sort of get a week ahead in terms of schedules. So last week there was no matches, but this week onwards we're going to be back to normal. So let's talk about my team, my opponent's team. So he's got a Victini, very scary. Victini is one of the hardest hitters in the game with access to V-Create, one of the biggest hitting moves. I think the only other Pokemon that gets access to it, I think other than maybe, what's not Shuckle, what's the thing called? Smeargle, I think is Rayquaza. I think Rayquaza gets access to it. But V-Create hits like a truck. Base 180, it's a very scary move. Victini can sort of be run either mixed, special, offensive. Like you can literally just run it as bulk if you really wanted to. It doesn't get the best bulky moves, but you know, it's got some things. It's got some options, but it's very scary. It's very tricky to prepare for. But again, like last week, well, hopefully not like last week, but I have got some counters. So we'll talk about my team in a little bit though. But Victini I do have to be careful for, because it also gets access to things like Fusion Bolt or Fusion Flare. I think it's both actually, or Bolt Strike. It gets so many of these kind of incredible powerful moves that you need to be prepared for. Thankfully it doesn't get anything. I don't think it gets any priority. I don't even think it gets Sucker Punch. Let me just check. No, it doesn't get Sucker Punch. So I don't think it gets any priority. Maybe it gets Quick Attack if it wants to be that guy. No. So we have that for us. But typically, you know, Victinis run like either Choice Scarf or Choice Band, Life Orb. Usually run one of those kind of sets, maybe an Assault Vest, but who knows? We've definitely got to be careful with Victini. Next up, we got his Fable. Fable is another scary one. It's only, I believe it's his only Fairy type. Yeah, it's his only Fairy type on his team. So if we can get rid of that, then we, to an extent, we've got rid of one bulky, annoying thing. Fable is one of his walls. Obviously access to things like Stealth Rocks. It also gets like Heal Bell. So it's definitely one that we've got to, you know, it's one that we've got to keep an eye out for. I think like one of his like sets I've seen him use in the previous weeks is used like Wish Toxic Protect. You know, that classic store. So we've definitely got to be careful. But thankfully, we can counter that. So again, for Fable, I'm only worried about purely just because it's quite a big wall. If he gets a chance to set up with a Carmine, then we may have some issues. But as long as we can potentially knock it down a little bit, we should be sitting pretty. One of his biggest problems that I sort of struggled with is his Goodra. Goodra is also his Z move user. He's yet to bring it with a Z move. I think he's both his matches. I think he's only also brought Goodra. Actually, no, I don't think he's brought Goodra once yet. No, I don't think he's brought it once yet. I can't remember now. Even though I looked at his team like this morning, I still can't remember. But Goodra is very scary, very specially bulky. It's got a lot of good, very good physical bulk. It's got decent, decent offense. Its speed isn't that great, it's only base 80, but base 90 HP, 100 attack, 110 special attack. It hits very hard and takes hits very well. Assault Vest is usually a classic set you see on Goodra. I don't see him running Sap Sipper as an ability purely just because I haven't got that many grass types. In fact, I think the only grass type I do have is my Cradilly, which one I'm yet to bring, and also it doesn't seem right against the sea. So Sap Sipper doesn't seem right. Hydration, maybe, but I've not got a rain team, so again, I don't see that. Gooey is what I do see coming though. It lowers my speed every time it gets hit with a physical contact. And that could be scary, that could be annoying, because my team isn't the fastest, so if it gets much slower, it could hinder us. So we've definitely got to keep an eye out for that, but obviously things like Draco Meteor, you can run it physical without rage. It's got Earthquake, it's got a lot of scary hits, like it even gets access to things like Sludge Wave and Sludge Bomb, so it's not even as I can freely switch in my Tapu Fini. So I've definitely had to kind of prepare for this thing. So it's very scary to deal with, because obviously it's very specially bulky. So we've definitely got to be careful with Goodra. Up next is a Hawlucha. Now Hawlucha, to an extent, I'm worried about. To an extent, he's only brought it once, I think, and Hawlucha is a bit of a meh. It's very speedy, base 118 speed, 92 attack. Everything else is kind of a bit in the 80s and below. And I don't really, I feel it coming. Unburden is obviously a very scary thing, because you typically would run like High Jump Kick, which obviously if he misses, 50% of his health is gone. That's a huge hit. But also with that, if he runs a Citrus Berry, his item gets heals him back up. Unburden also then doubles his speed, so he's guaranteed to outspeed everything without fail. Even Choice Scarf he outspeeds. But then he can use things like Acrobatics, and if he sets up a substitute or sets up a Sword Stance, it's going to be very difficult to take down Hawlucha. So it's one of the Pokemon we've got to try and take out in one hit without him activating the berry. So you'll see me when I talk over my team. I've kind of got a plan for Hawlucha. Obviously if he brings it, but it's very scary. So we definitely got to keep an eye out for that thing, and we ideally can't let it use its berry. I don't think Hawlucha gets access to Belly Drum. I could be wrong. No, it doesn't. So he can't guarantee lose 50%. The only way he can is if he does run High Jump Kick and he misses, which would be very good, but very bad. So we've got to be careful. Got to be careful with that. Also, his Mega is his Absol. Mega Absol can be very scary. It hits very, very hard. It's got very good speed, very good special attack. Base 150 in attack, which is ridiculous. 115 in special attack and 115 in speed. Very, very, very fast and very heavy hitting. Obviously, it can be run mixed. With the ability Magic Balance, it does kind of restrict me in certain situations to use things like hazards or any status moves like Toxic, Will-O-Wisp, those kind of things, because Magic Balance just sends it right back. So I've got to be careful with that. Also I've got to be careful with things like Knockoff, because most likely the Absol before Mega Evolution, you're going to run Justified. Like, either that or Pressure, but why would you use Pressure? Justified is the best move because you can switch into a knockoff, and if he gets switched into a knockoff, if I go for knockoff and he switches into the Absol, I mean, yeah, it's going to do like probably about, I don't know, 5% of his health, if that. It's also going to give him a Justified boost, which gives him +1 attack. He then Mega Evolves, and he is sitting pretty because he can Sucker Punch me for days. He can hit me hard, very, very hard. So Mega Absol, I need to take down. The good thing about Mega Absol is it has no defense whatsoever. Mega Absol's literally just, there's no defense. Base 65 HP and 16 both its defense stats. If I can get pretty much one good heavy hit, it's either dead or near dead. It's very frail, but it's very heavy hitting, so it's going to use things like Sucker Punch. So again, I've got a few counters, so we'll talk over that in a minute, but I've got to be careful about Mega Absol. I cannot let it get a Justified boost, and I cannot let it set up. If it sets up with Swords Dance, game over. I literally might as well close my DS. It will be game over if he sets up a Swords Dance. So we've got to be careful with that. Get rid of it as soon as. Up next, he's got his Tentacruel. Now, Tentacruel is another one I'm kind of worried about, but at the same time, not so much, because Tentacruel is obviously his main Rapid Spinner. It also reminds me, his spinners, obviously Rapid Spin for Tentacruel. He has also a defog. He's got two defoggers with Hawlucha and Lurantis, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Tentacruel can obviously set up things like spikes, toxic spikes. Typically, you know, it's his heavy poison hitter. So obviously things like Sludge Wave, Sludge Bomb. Base 100 speed, very fast. Base 120 special defense. But again, base 65 in defense and base 80 HP. Again, it has no physical defense. So good, heavy hitting physical move. Gone. It's not having it. Unless he runs an insane amount of physical bulk, he is not going to be living a physical hit. Especially one that's super effective. But obviously Scold is a thing. Toxic and all that annoyingness. So we've got to keep an eye out for that. But again, we'll talk about that, but I've definitely got plans for this thing. Up next we have is Steelix. Now Steelix he's yet to bring, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, he's brought it once. He has brought it once, I'm mistaken. Rockhead's sheer force sturdy, very scary. His defense is really where it's at. Base 200 defense. Base 85 attack, which is nothing to laugh at. 85 is pretty decent. However, base 75 HP, 55 in special attack, which why would you run a specially attacking Steelix? You must be insane. Base 65 special defense. That is where it gets hurt. One, probably a water gun would take this thing out. But it's not living a decent special hit. It's just not. Base 30 speed. It's guaranteed to go last. He's got overall his team. He's kind of got a mixed team in speed, but he could very easily run Trick Room. One thing that does, like I say, with things like Steelix, Goodra as well, maybe. And maybe Clefable, he could quite easily run Trick Room, which could be scary. So we've got to be careful with that. But Steelix, to an extent, I'm not really worried about. I don't see it coming. If he does bring it, then I just need to hit it on the special side, which again I've got counters for. So I'm not really worried about Steelix. Heliolisk is probably his second most thing that I'm worried about overall, other than the Victini. Goodra, I'm worried more about just taking it down. Not so worried about him doing damage to me. But the Heliolisk I am worried about, because the Heliolisk is very fast. Base 109 special attack, base 109 speed, base 94 special defense. Physical defense and HP, gone. Down the drain. Base 62 HP, 52 defense. And it's not living a physical hit. But because it is so fast, typically is run with either Life Bulb or Choice Specs. Very rarely is it Scarfed, unless it wants to guarantee to outspeed something else. But things like Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Surf, all these hits, it is scary. It also gets things like Hidden Power Ice. Now that is one thing I'm really worried about, it running Hidden Power Ice. Because the problem is, Heliolisk, especially with my team, it could pretty much wreck it. So I've really got to be careful with this thing. Obviously, things like Dry Skin, I can't hit it with water. I can't use a water type move very well. So I've definitely got to be careful with this thing. But Heliolisk, I am very worried about. I'm not worried about taking it down to an extent, because if I get put in with one good physical hit, it's gone. But I'm more worried, because this can also be Air Balloon if you want that. But I'm more worried about him. I'm more worried about him hitting me back, because this thing hits like a truck. So we've definitely got to be careful with the Heliolisk. The Zangoose, he's yet to bring it, I think, and I just don't see it coming. Toxic boost, maybe immunity. It's either immune from toxic or it gets toxic. It's either one or the other. I don't see it coming. It does get access to Belly Drum now, which is scary. Swords Dance if it wants to. It's got close combat knockoff, like quick attack and stuff. So it does hit very hard, base 115 attack, base 90 speed. But I don't see it coming. If he brings it, then I've got counters, but I don't see it coming. I really don't. Zangoose just doesn't it was definitely on my radar when I was looking to draft. But I'm glad I didn't pick it, because I didn't think it would have fit well with my team. But it hits hard, but I'm not too worried about Zangoose. Now, second to last, we have Haunter. Haunter is his only ghost type. It's also one of his, I think it's his only, other than the Hawlucha, it's his only other ground immunity, Mon. Obviously, Ghost Poison, nothing crazy. Usually, typically run with an Eviolite if you want to, but because it's so frail on the defensive side, you don't you wouldn't really do that. You typically run like Light Bulb or maybe Choice Specs. Scarf if you want it, because it's got base 115 special attack, base 95 speed, large bumps like Shadow Ball. Very standard, but I don't really see that coming. It doesn't really worry me too much, the Haunter. Last but not least, though, the Lurantis. Now, Lurantis could be tricky. It's fairly bulky. Speed is nothing, but HP 70, 90 attack, 90 defense, 90 special defense, and base 80 in special attack with 105 in its physical attack. So it could be tricky to take down, but it's as long as I don't allow it to set up a sword stance, I ain't really worried about this thing. It's not going to live too much. I mean, if it wants to run Contrary, Leaf Storm, then we've got counters, so we can just take it down in one hit. So Lurantis not really worried about. But anyway, enough about my opponent's team. We've been rambling now for 15 minutes. I apologize. My team now, however, as you can see on your screen, we have finally making his debut, Red Storm, our shiny Mega Gyarados. Mega Gyarados is our Mega for the Crystal Palosssands. We are yet to bring him, and finally he is making his debut in this team. I really thought the Mega Gyarados would fit really well against this team. One, because it pretty much minus the electro type moves, but it counters Victini pretty much across the board. It can also take things down like the Absol, because Absol cannot touch me, like at all. He cannot touch me. He can do nothing. Because really the best thing that he could do to me is superpower. Like Absol cannot touch me. So we definitely got the counters for that. Obviously Waterfall, Crunch, Earthquake, Dragon Dance. My plan is I need to get a free switch into the Absol, and a free switch into the Absol, and then just hit D-Dance turn 1. Because my Intimidate, I'll reduce his attack by 1. And then we just D-Dance up turn 1, and then we just start hitting Waterfalls or Earthquakes. And we pretty much could sweep. I've done a few practice matches, and I mean, they have changed. Obviously, you've got things like hacks and, you know, RNG, it's a thing. But I'd say about 60% of the matches that I played, which isn't the last 60-70%, were pretty much sweeps. So as long as I can get a free switch into the Gyarados, we can pretty much sweep it. It's got max speed, 128 in special defense, and 124 in its physical defense, and then just a little bit in HP, just so it's on the odd number. But I'm really confident with this Gyarados. I'm really excited to be bringing it. Up next, we got Destiny. Destiny's making a return from last week, second match in a row. Destiny did put in the finest of work last week, but unfortunately, it didn't hold out as long as I'd hoped. Mainly my fault. I did misplay a bit last week, and I apologize as well for my behavior on last week's match. I felt like I just kind of really just sort of screamed for no reason. It was a bit stupid of me. But we got Destiny. Destiny is running a slightly different set this week. Mainly kind of rocking more in speed and sort of defense, like in HP and stuff. So we've got 248 in HP, 228 in speed, and a little bit of special defense. Now, this particular set is designed, if I'm not mistaken, for the Goodra, because it guarantees me I can live one Sludge Wave from a Goodra. Guarantee I can live at least one, potentially two, depending on the Goodra's spread. It literally works out by about 1% difference, whether or not I can take two or not. So it's a chance. It's a better chance than an alternative spread I had, which pretty much guaranteed him a 5% chance to guaranteed to kill me with 2 shots. Very low chance, but the chance is there. So I thought I'll take it. We've got Nature's Madness. Nature's Madness is really for the Tentacruel, because I can guarantee 50%. Guarantee it. Same with the Fable. Steelix as well if he does bring it. But Moonblast pretty much one-shots Holucha, depending on his special bulk, and it one-shots what's it call it? A Absol. It's dead. Gone. Surf is for things like the Victini, just an alternative. I was thinking about running the Scold, but the point is with Scold is if Tapu Fini's out, I can't get a burn because of Misty Surge. Brian was a cool idea. I was thinking of bringing Brian again because obviously if I'm below 50%, Brian, guarantee 130 damage. It's going to pretty much destroy things. But with leftovers, I thought maybe it won't be as reliable. So I thought Surf, it's not that far. I mean, it's 40 base difference, but it can do a lot of damage. Obviously, the only thing I've got to be careful about really is the Heliolisk with that dry skin, as well as the things like the Lurantis and the Tentacruel. We can't really do much against those things. All I can do is Nature Madness. And well, that's about it. So we've got to be careful. I've got Defog just in case he gets things that spikes up from my side. So we've got a few counters. We've got Lumiere also bringing a return. Lumiere really, as much as I love Chandelure, it's very frail. But really, it's only good for one thing: being scarfed and outspeeding everything. Like Chandelure, this is the 3rd week in a row I'm bringing Chandelure, and it's the 3rd week in a row I'm bringing Choice Scarf, max speed, max special attack, 4 in special defense. Very simple. Literally, I just need it to outspeed everything and destroy. So it's definitely an interesting set, but hopefully it will come in the work for us. Obviously, Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, Psychic, Clear Smoke. Clear Smoke is if it Chandelure's near dead maybe, or if I know it's going to die. It's mainly also for things like the Absol. If the Absol manages to get Sword Stance up, I can switch into Lumiere and go for Clear Smog. He's obviously going to hit me with a knockoff or something, but I can get rid of his stat increases, and which allows me then maybe to switch into the Gyarados and start setting up in his face and start destroying things. So Clear Smog I thought was a really cool idea. Plus that's a tiny bit of damage. Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, Psychic. Psychic's for the Hawlucha. 1 shot's it, gone. Shadow Ball, 2 shots Victini depending on its spread, and Flamethrower pretty much kind of wrecks most of his team. Even does about 20% to the Victini, which is quite a lot, considering obviously it's fire. Plus also the Victini does want to go for a V-Create. I have Flash Fire, so I can increase my special attack, isn't it? Yeah. So we increase our attacks, so it's going to be good. Scorpio's making a return as well. This is also unfair to say the last week we will be bringing Scorpio. I have actually switched Scorpio out. As of next week, we will have Crocodile on the team. I really thought Crocodile would probably be a better set. It's the same. It gives me a ground type. It does give me another dark type, so I have got to be careful with my fairy weaknesses. But I just thought it works better because it gives me an Intimidate user, it gives me a Moxie. I can run it Choice Scarved. It gets such a variety of moves. It doesn't hit as hard, but it definitely can deal more hits than Gliscor could. So if you let me know your thoughts on that. If you really disagree, I can make a switch back. I mean, it does kind of cost me, but I can make the switch back if you really feel like, oh my gosh, what were you thinking? Let me know. But this week, Scorpio is obviously running the same set: Toxic Pull, Poison Heal, Earthquake Knockoff, U-Turn, Stealthy Rocks. My plan is to lead with Scorpio. I lead turn 1. And we pretty much just sweep. I say sweep, we don't. We lead turn 1. If he leads with his Absol, we U-turn out of there. If he leads with the Clefable, we U-turn out of there. But if he leads with anything else, we Stealth Rocks. We pretty much can just set up some stuff. The only thing is really if he leads with the Tentacruel, then I also have to switch out. So we have got a few options, but my plan is to lead with Scorpio. We've also making his debut. We got Boombox, our Exploud. I'm very, very excited for Boombox. Choice Scarf, Soundproof. With Boom Burst, Shadow Ball, Surf, and Focus Blast. Now, really, this thing is to really just use Boom Burst. Now, I don't see him bringing the Haunter. I don't see it whatsoever. So this week I'm running Soundproof rather than Scrappy. I didn't see the point in bringing Scrappy. Like, the only Pokemon that benefits is the Haunter, which I don't see coming. Plus, if he does bring it, I've got Shadow Ball. So Boom Burst is literally going to wreck shot. We are Choice Scarf, but we've got very few speed. We've got max speed. Max special attack literally is pretty much like Lumiere, designed to outspeed and wreck things. It's going to hit very hard and do some serious damage. So I'm very, very excited for Boombox to make his debut and hit some things very heavily. Last but not least, we have Seratine, our Golbat, rocking the EV a lot with Infiltrator. Brave Bird, Roost, Toxic, and Defog. Again, another Defog user. This is mainly also to counter the Clefable. I can stall this thing out easily. If I get a Toxic off, running obviously it's not running Magic Bounce or whatever, I can get a Toxic off and I can literally just Roost stall it easily. If he wants to set up hazards on me, that's fine, I can defog them away. You know, I can literally just wall this thing. The only thing really I can't wall is the Tentacle because it's a poison type. Everything else though, I can wall it. So Seratine I thought was really, really benefit. Running max special attack, max special defense, sorry, and max HP. Really going to take some special hits, especially with, like, against things like the Healer List. It can take things really well. Udra and the Tentacle. So I'm very, very confident with this team. I'm a bit nervous, you know, but I think I've done all the preparation I can. It's now literally just down to the RNG and the hacks. Lately, they have not been on my side at all. I have been very unlucky with RNG and hacks. So I'm hoping the RNG gods are nice to us this week, and we can pick up a W. Fingers are being crossed. But hey, let me know your thoughts. Let me know who you think is going to be our MVP, and let me know if you think I should have made any changes, any adjustments on this team. And also do let me know your thoughts on me swapping Gliscor out for Crocodile. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. If you really think it was the worst idea I could have made, let me know. Let me know down below. But with that, guys, that is it from this week's team builder. And the match will be up tomorrow. Definitely get you guys excited for that. Show some love to my opponent. Hit that like button if you guys are excited. Subscribe if you are new. With that, guys, my name is SilverBeanie, and I'll catch you guys next time.